your area of concern. As far as I'm concerned, this is my 28th year in the IT industry. So I have worked in business analysis, project management, and program management functions in my career. And today, in current role, I am the chief mentor and CEO of Techcanvass. I'm also an author, and I also take guest lectures at some of the colleges in Bombay. And I am CBAP certified. So the agenda is to understand first who is a business analyst, the skills needed to become a business analyst. Can non-IT professionals also become BAs? And a step-by-step approach and a plan to become a business analyst. Soumya, if you're not recording, started the recording, please do that.
Yeah, I have started recording.
Okay, yeah, thanks. So let's start by, let me ask you a question. What is your background? In the companies from where you are coming in, what's your background? Tell me about your background. Just type in the chat window or you can unmute and tell. You are from sales, development, technical writing, testing, HR, or admin.
Hi everyone, this is Kamaljeet here.
Yeah, hi Kamaljeet.
So I'm a commerce graduate. And after that, I had been flying for many years. And then, then I had kids, and so I had to take a break. So I was thinking of re-entering the workspace now. And business analysis seems like a very good option. So that's what my background is.
Okay. So I'm seeing somebody else also from a flying background. We have had a couple of people from the flying background in the past. In fact, one of them, there's an interview. She's now working with Wells Fargo. You can see her interview in on our YouTube channel.
What's her name?
Natasha.
Natasha, okay.
What about others? What's your background? We'll come back to specific questions later on. Okay, so let me first take you through the presentation and then.
So Abhishek, people have written on the chat, someone is from IT, they are from HR operations, capital market operations, IT again. And I see Balvinder is typing. Yeah, I think he's from IT, he mentioned that. So yeah.
Okay, fair enough. So now let's move on and let me ask you one more question. On this left side, you can see variety of non-IT background written there as to what people do in the other industries, whether you are in supply chain, you are in a bank, you are into flying, you are into relationship management of a bank. Which one do you think can become a business analyst and which ones can't? First of all, tell me which one of these you think are most likely to become a business analyst and others will have a problem. No answers?
Program.
Yes, the programmer seems more likely to become a business analyst.
Okay. Okay, people in IT will have an advantage, Kamaljeet says. Any other inputs?
Anyone, I think. So any sales professional, so any, so they mentioned, right? Anyone can become business analyst, I think.
Correct. Sarfaraz says everyone. Hemal says technical writer. Okay, so in fact, anyone can become a business analyst. Uh, that was not a trick question, but just to give you a flavor as to what are the possibilities of non-IT people also becoming a business analyst. So there are two profiles in the IT industry, which allows people, other than sales and sales and other professions, these are the two entry points into a software development practice. One is the testing. You can join the project as a manual tester, or you can get into business analysis. These are the two areas where IT industry generally does not have any reservations for people coming from other backgrounds. But what are the challenges and what you should be really looking at, that we are going to discuss in a short while. Let's start by looking at who is a business analyst. So according to you, what is the role of a business analyst? Any one or two, you can quickly tell me, what does a business analyst do in your view? Do you have any idea?
They
It's
coordinate.
about change.
Okay, it's about change. Balvinder says problem solving. Okay. Okay.
A business analyst deals with the various data sets, analyze the data, transform the data, and convert it into a beautiful visualizations. That is the role of.
Okay. Okay. So business analyst also visualizes the data. Kamaljeet is saying coordinate between different teams. Email says requirements gathering, analyze the needs and recommend solutions. So actually, if you look at a business analyst is a very generic term which is used in the IT industry. So business analysts are used in the world of data analysis as well. All the data analysts and data analytics professionals are also called business analysts. Business analysts are also people who are into all you are saying in terms of requirements gathering, in terms of problem solving, in terms of needs analysis, stakeholder management. So there is a vast area of business analysis which is possible. And it's a very generic term. But if you look at the very high level view of the business analyst, they are in the role of understanding what does the business need at a given point in time. What are the right solutions to address that need, and help them in getting the solution which addresses their problem. That's the 40,000 feet view of a business analyst, which includes everything. The solution can be related to data. It could be visualization. It could be a software application. It could be anything. As long as that solution addresses the problem, that is what business analyst does, which means that the role of a business analyst is pretty vast. Okay. And today we are not looking at many other areas which requires a very different skill set. For example, if you're into data analysis, then we are talking about Python or machine learning. That is not the focus of this conversation. That we can discuss some other day. Here we are going to focus on the role of a BA in the software development lifecycle. How does a BA work in a software project? We will just focus on that because the entry point to IT industry for a non-IT professional is going to be the role of a BA in a software project. Okay, getting into data analysis projects is possible. It's not impossible, but that's a steep learning curve. It takes many months to really look at all the aspects of data science and then get into that field. That's a very tricky area, and we'll leave it for today. So let's try and understand in a software development process. First, what is this? And where does a BA fit in? What's the role? So that then we can discuss how will you get into that? What are the things which you need to learn so that you can get into that? So software development process is it does start with planning. Like any other project, whether it's uh, building a factory, building a highway, it requires planning. You start with building a plan. Okay. Then the next task, which is possibly the most critical task, is to understand what does the customer want really, and convert them into a set of details which the tech team can then take it forward. So requirements development is the first step. This is basically about understanding everything about what is to be done. So this is about what. Then comes how it will be done. So deciding on how you can develop that solution using different kind of technology, platforms, tools, hardware, and various other tech components so that it becomes the most efficient solution. Then comes the final coding work. So where the coding and testing is conducted so that then the software application can be given to the customer. Finally, the customer testing. The client itself has to test to understand whether the solution meets the requirement or not. This is called UAT or user acceptance testing. Okay. So these are the primary phases of a particular software development life cycle. In addition to that, there are two other things which are also important, but they are shown as if they are done right from the beginning till the end. Okay. For example, verification and validation. This is an activity which is conducted to ensure that the requirements which are captured are correct. It is in line with what does the business want. So at every step, we do the verification validation, whether it's planning or requirements development or design, it is done at every stage. And the last part of it is monitoring and oversight, which is more like a making sure that everything is happening on time. If there are certain issues, you can always go and correct it. Now, in all of this, what does a business analyst do? Where does a business analyst fit? Do you need to learn design? Do you need to be a tech guy? Do you need to learn coding? Let's try and understand it. So the first part is planning. So planning is typically a project management function, meaning the project managers typically do it. Okay. So business analysts do give inputs about the activities which they are going to conduct, how much time it's going to take, what are the different things they're going to do. That's what a business analyst can give input to the project manager for creating the plan. Then comes the requirements development. That is something which is your bread and butter. As far as your role in the entry years or the early years of your business analysis career. This is where you business analysts make a difference. If you capture the requirements correctly and represent them in a way that it is easier for people to implement, there is clarity, there is consistency, then the chances of the software being the correct one is very high. If any one of you have looked at historical data of software projects, you know that the track record of projects has not been very good. A lot of software projects fail. The reason? One of the top reasons. There are many other reasons, but one of the top reasons is lack of understanding of requirements or incorrect requirements. So as you can see, the role of a BA in making a difference in a project. Then comes the design and coding. In both these phases, your job is more like a consultant. Why? Because you are not going to perform these tasks. Whether it's design or coding, you are not going to do it. So who does it? These tasks are done by technical teams. The solution architect, the technical architects, and the developers. Just give me 1 second, please.
Meanwhile, can anyone confirm if they are able to see the PPT? Because I saw 2 people saying that they cannot see.
I can see it.
All
But
right.
I
Thank
can
you.
hear.
Yeah.
I can see it too.
Thank you. Yeah.
Sorry about that. So in the design and coding phase, it is done by development team and the technical architect and solutions architect. So your role, why you are needed? That is because the design and coding also has to be done for a specific project. So whether they are able to understand, if they have any clarifications, that will all be provided by you. So you are working as a consultant. Then finally, the last stage is UAT. Again, your role becomes very important. That is because you have understood the requirements. So only you can interact with the client to help them test the system. If they need a clarification saying, I haven't asked for this, or I did ask for this, and you haven't provided, you are the right person to answer those questions. So the role of a coordinator during the UAT period is very important. In fact, there are positions in US and Australia and on-site positions where BS play specific roles of UAT coordinators. There are a lot of opportunities available as UAT coordinators. Okay, so that's a very specific version of a BA, which is also possible. Okay, so these are the roles, or these are the participation activities of a BA in a software project. So now the question is, what do you need to be a business analyst or to be able to perform these activities? Okay, so we have developed something called a craft framework, which is basically 4 key skills which are needed to become a business analyst or needed to perform your responsibilities as a business analyst. Some of them are needed at the entry level. Some of them are not needed at the entry level. It can be done later on. Functional knowledge is one of them. That is something which is not mandatory at the entry level, but it's a mandatory skill for any BA. At some point in time, you have to get into domain knowledge. Without that, your scope of work will be very limited. Okay. So the first thing, not necessarily in any order, but the first thing is soft skills. As you can see, the role of a BA involves connecting and interactions with a lot of people, a lot of stakeholders. The interesting and the complex thing about the stakeholders with which the BA interacts, and that is different from many other profiles, is that the stakeholders are very different in nature. So the business side has a different sensibility, a different way of understanding things. The technology team has a different way of understanding things. They're all capable people, but they speak literally a different language. That is where you have to become a translator, a communicator, a presenter, a lot of things which are part of your role. So clarity of communication while you're communicating requirements to either side, ability to work with the stakeholders in terms of how neutral you are. right? You have to be seen to be neutral so that you can do justice to your role. A lot of facilitation, negotiation, all of these things will come into play. Some of them you obviously will need once you become independent BA. In the entry level, maybe you will be working with a senior business analyst. So all of these things may not be required. Some part of it will be. Then comes your core BA skills, the fundamental skills of a business analyst. So you can call them as technical skills. Here you need to learn UML, user stories, Agile, Waterfall, uh, Jira, MS Visio. These are the things which you need to learn as a fundamental BA skills. That's what you will need in your day-to-day work. How to write requirements, how to present them. All of these things are how to manage a change. These are your fundamental BA skills. Then functional knowledge, I've already told, not necessarily entry-level skill, but you have to pick it up at some point in time. And finally, the testing part. As you've seen, we have a stage where client conducts the UAT. At that point in time, before you go to client for your software to be tested, you also need to feel confident about it. You don't want to hear from the customer about surprises. So you want to ensure that everything is in order. So you need to have some bit of skills to test things. More like an end-to-end testing, more like a process testing, rather than individual screen testing. Okay, so these are the skills which are required for business analysts to be able to successful. If you leave aside functional knowledge, some part of the software skills, so you'll end up having a set of skills which are required to become a business analyst. Now, we can also look at the skills from a different perspective. One, which you can carry forward. So some of the skills you might be having right now, which we discussed, which you can carry forward. Meaning you don't need to learn them. You already have it. You can display it. You can demonstrate in your resume. That's a plus point. And some of the things which are not, or which are more like a gap, which you need to learn. Okay, so the skills which you need to learn, you need to plan for that. And the skills which you already have, which can be carried forwarded, you need to find out a way to represent in your resume. Before we discuss that, the most important question, is it a good choice to become a PA? So I'll present some data which will help you in kind of gaining some ground as to whether it's a good profile to get into. So this is some of the data, a little not very recent. Like in LinkedIn search or LinkedIn learning, the business analysis skill ranks at number 6 in the top searched skills. Of course, data science will be the number 1 because it's the most glamorous field to be in. Everybody searches for data analysis. As per US Bureau of Labor Statistics, for this period, a 10-year period, up to 2026, business analysis is expected to grow by 14%, which is very, very healthy rate because others are growing at 5%. Many other areas are growing at 5%. Some of them are completely static. Some of them are declining. And a lot of our recent experiences. So we have been working with many corporates. Some of you are coming from those companies. As you can see, some of you have been receiving this, you must have received this communication from your HR. And we have done a lot of training in the recent times, which is company sponsored. What does it mean? It means that companies are ready to invest in you to learn so that they can use this skill. So that's also a sign that this is something which is valuable for the organizations, and companies are ready to invest themselves, or they're promoting you to get into business analysis or learn these skills. Not only business analysis, there could be some other skills also as well. Okay. One of the most interesting thing which you will learn is that sometime back we did a training for big tire manufacturing companies. You must have heard about them, Michelin. So they have a tech center in Pune. So in the training which I conducted for business analysts, some of them participants were data analysts or the data scientists. Why were they doing business analysis training? They were doing the training because whether you are a data scientist or whether you are the most technically sound person, at the end of the day, what are you doing as a business analyst? You are solving the problem of a customer, which means you need to interact with the customer. So you need to have the skills to gather the requirements, understand them, analyze it, and then take it forward. So as you can see, the spectrum of business analysis, even though we are just discussing it about IT projects, is still very vast. And it is like included in lot many areas of work in the IT companies. Okay, so you have a good future, but as you know, IT industry or technology field is very fast moving field. I mean, literally, it's like we use FMCG for consumer goods, but technology is like fastest moving area of today's world. What will happen in next 10 years, we don't know. But for at least in my view, next 5 to 10 years, business analyst is going to remain in demand. It may change form if machines become more intelligent, we don't know. But at least for 10 years, this is going to be in demand. So we talked about some of the skills, carry forward skills. So I'll give you 2 examples. For example, if you are into testing, what are the things which you can carry forward? You understand the software development life cycle. You have understanding of the technical documentation. You have the knowledge of the functional testing. And some of the people who are into testing, they also have some bit of knowledge of writing documentations. That is something which is part of your core BA skills. That is something which you can carry forward. If you are into technical writing, completely sounds to be non-BA kind of a role. But there also, what you are doing, you are in the role of first understanding what does the client want, the structure of it, what is going to be the format of the article or the documentation. Then you understand the domain. If you're writing a user manual, how can you write a user manual without understanding the software itself? So if you have been doing this for some time, you have a good understanding not only of the domain, but also how the software applications work. And of course, you have the knowledge of documenting the requirements. So I picked up these 2 things which were not so obvious in terms of the advantage. But if you are into business development, if you're coming from development, the software development, you do carry something which is very important. For example, if you're coming from relationship management or business development, you have good experience and expertise of dealing with stakeholders. That is a very strong aspect of business analysis. So now finally, the step-by-step approach. How does it all boil down to doing the things? And how can you plan your approach to become a business analyst? So before we start, the first thing is not a cakewalk. So you should never think that it's going to be easy, but it is not as difficult as you might think. Once you understand the approach, once you understand how to do it, it is going to be some task. Consider, depending on how busy you are and how free you are, 10 to 12 weeks is the minimum you need to complete all these steps for becoming a business analyst. For some people, it may be longer. For some people, it may be 10 to 12 weeks. But it cannot be shortened. So whenever you're thinking of that, consider 12 weeks at the minimum. And if you're too busy or you have had a longer break, you can add a few months based on that, a few weeks rather, to that. Okay. The second thing, which if you watch Natasha's interview, you will she was an air hostess. Okay. Now she is a senior business analyst in Wells Fargo. So if you listen to her interview, she mentions at some point in that she was rejected by close to 300 organizations. She was not shortlisted, I mean, not interviewed as such, but she applied to close to 300 companies. That's the perseverance which you need to show. If you give up, you'll never become a BA, or you'll never achieve anything. In fact, this is not only true for BA, but for every field. If you have a target, if you have a goal, you need to think about sticking to it. You need to try harder till the time you get it. There's no kind of coming back from it. Once you decide, I want to do it, don't stop. So for some people, it may be a little late. Some people, it will be fast, but it does not matter in the end. The third thing which often people ask, these are commonly asked questions, that what will happen? Will I join as a fresher? What happens to my current salary? Commonly asked question. So the answer to that is, for some of you, I mean, who are getting very high salary, it could be a challenge, because for an employer who is looking for an entry-level BA, they are not going to pay you for what you have done so far. They are going to pay you for what you're going to do now, which is an entry-level BA position. So they will be paying you what they feel is right for this profile. So you are asking for this job. So in some cases, you might have to make a compromise. You might have to join at a lower salary, or maybe equal salary. You may not get a high. I'm not saying it's always possible. Some people, in fact, have got much better salary. That depends. But worst case scenarios, even if you have to do it, the good thing about IT industry is that it's growing. It's growing faster than many other industries, which means that you can cover up all these losses in next few years. In the long run, you'll be in a much better position financially, and because of many other opportunities, even though you have to start on a compromise. Okay, so having said that, let's look at how do you plan your work and how do you plan your approach. First thing which you have to do is to do a skills gap analysis. Understand the skills which you have and the skills which are needed to become a business analyst. So depending on your background, depending on what is your current role, you figure out what you don't have. Start working on. So if you're, let's say, very bad in communication, you have to work on that. There's absolutely no two ways about it. Other things, typically the core BA skills, if you lack that, the training programs will cover most of those skills. So for example, UML modeling or use cases, agile, Visio, Jira, training programs do have those modules covered. Okay, so you need to carefully select which program covers all the skills which are used in the industry and it's covered in the course. But along with that, also consider certification, especially if you are uh, uh, not feeling that confident. And if your organization does not provide or is not open to provide you an opportunity to move into a BA role, which means you have to look for a job. When you're looking outside, the certifications help. Why? Because consider an employer, HR person who is looking at your CV. These days, I can write anything in my resume. I can just copy the best resume from the internet and copy paste. I just change my name and my education background. How will somebody believe the document if there are so many cases of lying in the CV? That is where certifications help. So certification from a standard body or a good organization like IBA, PMI, they help because they give some confidence to the employer that you'll be knowing the minimum skills required to clear the certification. These certifications are not like open book exams. You need to study well to clear this. So that helps in getting your resumes shortlisted. For others who are going to get that opportunity in your company, it doesn't matter. Okay, even if you don't do ECBA, it doesn't matter. You can still go ahead and do the other hands-on learning of the skills, and it will be okay. And then you start, once you have finalized the course, once you have finalized that you need the ECBA certification, then you get into action, you start learning. Now, the only thing which is important in learning is that many of you might have left the kind of habit of learning. It's going to be a little difficult in the initial period because you're going to do something which is not, you're not used to it. Okay, doing the same thing again and again in a job profile becomes like a habit. You don't need to do anything new to learn it. Okay, so when you are going to start doing the course, it will become a little difficult in the beginning. That's where you have to kind of dig in. And a lot of practice, a lot of doing exercise, self test, that is very important for during this period. So if you're going for certification exam, the mock tests are very important. You practice with them so that you gain confidence. There are a lot of help, a lot of things which we do, which are free for every business analyst. So you can go and see our blog, which is the business analysis blog. There are a lot of materials available for all levels of business analysis. You can watch our YouTube channel, which also has a lot of videos which regularly get published. Every week there are 2-3 videos which get published. And of course, the events like this, which also happen every week on a regular basis. In fact, this week we are having 4 such events, one after the other, on 4 days. So once you have finished your course, the next thing you have to do is to work on your resume. Start working on the resume. Okay, because resumes are important. That is the only way employer will look at you. Okay, so whatever resume you have created so far, you may not be able to use the same because they are not meant for uh, business analysis. Okay, so you have to work on that. So there are templates available. You can find plenty of them in the on the internet, which you can take and use. Okay. Then Another important step is to prepare for the interviews. Okay. So, because interviews are all about 30 minutes, 40 minutes, maybe maximum. Okay. How do you impress the interviewer? How do you say the right things or right answers to the questions which they are asking? You may know the topic, you may understand what is to be done, what is to be said, but are you able to say it in the right words, in a concise manner, in an impressive manner? Sometimes that is always a challenge for many people, which we have seen. You don't prepare enough to be able to answer it. So knowing something and then answering those questions in the interview are two different things. They're not the same. So how do you handle that? You need to, one, look at a lot of resources are available on internet again, where you can see some of the commonly asked questions and how to answer them. So first, list down all the 30, 40 questions or 50 questions which are required to be answered for typical business analyst interview questions. And then you can start seeing how to answer these questions. There are some books and resources which are available from Techcanvass also, which can help. Then finally, at the time when you are going for the interviews, you need to think about, are you feeling confident? After practicing and after preparing for the interviews, are you now feeling confident to go for the interview? If not, you can also do one thing, which is like a dry run. What you can do is some of the companies where you don't want to join, or which is like, even if you don't clear the interviews, you're least bothered. Apply to them, those companies, appear for the interviews. There's nothing better than the actual interview. That will help you in understanding how well prepared you are. Are you able to answer questions? Were you feeling confident? Which are the areas where you're not feeling confident? So that you can prepare well and then go for the companies where you actually want to work. Okay, so that's the way you should be looking at going about preparing for the business analysis profile. So I will end with a very popular quote. As you can see here, you have to try and you have to fail. People who have never tried will never fail, obviously, but they will never succeed as well. That's the other side of this whole quote. Okay, so it's a pretty much doable career shift. Whether you are into IT industry currently working or you're not working in IT industry, it's a pretty much achievable task. There are hundreds and thousands of people whom we have trained. In fact, literally thousands of people we have trained over the years to help them become business analysts. We're doing this for last 7, 8 years. Okay. And every month we train a lot of people. Okay. So it is always achievable. It's just that you have to plan it well and go in a step by step manner to achieve your goal. Okay. So that's the end of it. If you have any questions, please go ahead and ask. So I can't see the questions. Some of the chat.
So
Nothing
I
has
have
been yeah. Please go ahead. Yeah.
yeah, so I have a question. When I see the job postings, they always ask for 2 to 3 years experience and rather 5 to 6 years experience uh, candidates. I hardly see postings for entry level positions. So So how do we like go about it? I mean, does it put us, like if we do the ECBA and after that it's going to be difficult to get a job, or are there any entry level positions, because I don't see them in the job portals?
No, actually, I know this is a question which is often asked. So, in fact, I had created a video on this topic itself. It's available on our channel. Let us see if it is available, where it is. But how to search for entry-level BA jobs. Okay, so that video basically tells you about how to go about it. So if you watch the video, you'll see there are positions available. It's just that you have to use it, you have to search for the jobs in a slightly refined manner. That's all. For example, one of the things which you need to do is don't search as business analyst, search for junior business analyst. I'm just trying to figure out where it is. Is there in the channel? You can search and you can look at that.
Okay. But the positions will be very few, right? Mostly they want experience, like 3 to 4 years experience.
Few is better than nothing, right?
I
At
think
least you have some
Abhishek, in the
opportunity.
recent webinar, when it was a Q&A session, you answered this, and in fact, you showed a
Yes,
demo also when you shared quite a few job openings on other different portals like Naukri, LinkedIn.
yeah, correct. This has happened a couple of days back only, right?
Yeah, so if you go and see the webinar, which is by the name of Business Analysis and Project Management Q&A session, it's uploaded like 2-3 days back, so it'll be in the recent thing. There we have a lot of questions, similar to what you are asking, and there you can see the demo also. So like Abhishek has actually shared how to look for such kind of jobs for junior business analyst. So
All right.
it will be great help for you there as well.
Sure. Thank you.
It's a 17th April video actually. It's on the
Oh.
date. It was uploaded actually on 17th April.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
That's here, this one. Sorry, this is an admin view. Sorry. Yeah, this is how it is going to be. The topic wise, business analysis and project management Q&A session.
Sure. Sure. Thank you.
Hemal is asking, Jira, MS Visio, and other BS tools are covered as part of the regular CBAP program. No, these are not part of CBAP program. CBAP program is only for experienced business analysts. So there you are not going to learn these hands-on skills. These are only for entry-level programs. So ECBA certification training program covers all of it. Then Noor has a question. I started as a BA 3 months back and my role currently is limited to documentation. But the ECBA course helps in learning other aspects of it. Yeah. So that is what ECBA is primarily. See, the ECBA program is designed in such a way that it covers the formal BA skills, all the BA skills which you need as an entry-level BA, plus the certification part. It covers both the sides. So you will work on case studies, real-life projects, plus you learn all these tools and techniques. No, so since you're only doing documentation right now, you need to see if you can push, once you learn these things, can you push your organization to give you a much better role, which is not just limited to documentation. Can you go and talk to the customer? Because that is important part. Documentation you already know. Can you go and talk to the customer? That will kind of expand the horizon of your role. If not, if they're not ready, then you need to change, and that will require you to get certified. Holland. Any other questions? So this is the interview I was talking about, from cabin crew to business analyst. Not this one. This is the heading. Noor is asking, is there some profile for jobs where role of a BA and a data analyst are combined? Yes. I mean, this is not for an entry-level program. For a senior-level program, ultimately data analysts are successful if they also are talking to the stakeholders. Otherwise, it becomes a too techie and inside-looking role. Okay, so if you want to really succeed in the data analysis world, you need to be customer-facing. See, in any organization, customer-facing roles are always better placed compared to non-customer facing roles, except some very high techy roles. What is the average salary package for individual BAs in India? It depends, but generally it starts from 3.5 lakhs to, it could go up to 10 lakhs. Sarita, you're asking how difficult would it be to get an interview BA after a career break? It's difficult to kind of quantify or say something very concrete on this. It depends. It depends on what we're doing before, how long has been your break, what is your current status. There are companies in India as well as abroad. Especially in India, I know TCS, Cognizant, Capgemini. There are many other companies which are actually having openings only meant for females on break. Okay, so they are encouraging those females who are taken a break, but they are capable of performing the roles. They are having special programs. Okay, so you can apply to those companies. You'll have a better chance of getting it. But please understand, it's not a charity work. So these companies are not doing it for free without any advantage. It's an opportunity for all the females who are on break, but the salaries will be little lower, right? So this drive of theirs is also driven by some advantage in terms of economics. But as I mentioned, it should not be worried. You should not be worried about it. Getting into the role is more important. After that, you can jump. Vismoy is asking, what is the roadmap for BA? Do senior BAs have demand in industry or better to transition as PO? I would say, see, look, if it depends on whether you want to continue in an individual role or you want to get into a team management role. Okay, many BAs transition into project management. If you like handling team, you're good as a leader, get into project management. It's even more rewarding than BA job. But if you are more comfortable being an individual, working more like one person, then BA-like profile is more relevant for you. And since most of the projects in today's world is being done as an agile project, slowly the percentage is moving up, which means that PO will have better chances as compared to B, especially at a senior. Our team does help you in filling PD hours and other details, but the course itself doesn't make you IABA member. That is something which you have to deal with IABA. Process is very smooth these days. The application form and all, it has been simplified. Earlier, there used to be a lot of details required. Nowadays, you need some details from our side, but that's all. It's not a very complicated process. But becoming a member is directly with IABA. And also, depending on which country you are in, the membership fees is different. It varies from some $60, $65 to $120, $130. How do you get the proof of PDRs? We give you a certificate which actually tells how many PDRs you are given. So that certificate will have that mention of PDRs. That was the question from Neeta.
Yes, actually, I just have a follow-up question. So do we have to collect all the certificates and do we have to upload that while you're applying for the certification?
No, actually, no. You don't need to. See, what happens is when you are filling up the form, they ask you if it is a course you have done from an EEP. So you need to select the name of the EEP and put the contact details of the EEP. So that our team will provide you. Once you put up, some of these applications are verified. If they have a doubt or they just pick up randomly, it depends. So they will have verification from the EEP, that is the company which is providing the training, which is an IIB partner, to check if this person who says they have done a course from you, have they done. That's how it's verified.
Okay. Okay, just for example, I think we have some internal, like I'm working for an organization and there are some trainings and, certain materials. And after going through all of those materials, we do get some points for them and we also get some certificates. So can that also be used?
Yes, if it is equivalent to, see, whatever you're doing, if it is an IBA endorsed, so what happens is this course, which I'm talking about right now, the ECBA certification training or any other course, if IBA has endorsed it. So what happens is we have submitted this course to IBA and IBA says, yes, it's endorsed, then these many hours are applicable to this course. So if those materials and trainings are approved by IBA, then yes.
Okay. Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah. Noor, I don't remember it. You'll have to possibly go and check. But as far as I remember, if you are a member and if you are based out of India, the fees, the total fees, including membership, exam fees, application fees, somewhere around $290 or something like that. I don't remember, so don't quote me for this, but something like that. 110, 160, 70. No, actually, if you're in India, it will be around 235 or 236, something like that. Dollars, all three. Somewhere in that range. So you can consider multiplying by 75, so we'll get the high. All right. There seem to be any more questions? Yeah. So Soumya, we can conclude this now if there is no more question.
Yeah. So thank you everyone for joining. So we are conducting webinars like for this week, same timings. So tomorrow also we have a session. It will be till Friday. So all the 3 days, and you can go and register, for the sessions. And thank you for joining, and hope you all have a great day. Thank you, Abhishek. It was a very insightful session.
Thank you, everyone. See you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.